Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be discussing skill-based matchmaking. Yet again, it's definitely a tentpole topic here in the channel. Specifically, this time we're going to be doing a response to a video posted by 8 Thoughts a few days ago, titled, "I love NerosCinema, but this has to stop." Now, before we get started, I would like to say I do like 8 Thoughts. I think his videos are hilarious. In fact, he seems like the kind of guy where, if the world ever decides to open back up again, he'd be a great guy to go get wasted with after an event or something like that. But I do fundamentally disagree with the point of his video, and I want to discuss that here today, because I think it's an extremely relevant topic within the Call of Duty community. So the point that 8 Thoughts made in his video is, because of skill-based matchmaking, and us knowing that it has won because of what Activision announced during their earnings report, that we should all just quit the Call of Duty franchise. We should stop giving attention to the Call of Duty franchise. Because player retention numbers are 3 times as high as normal, because microtransaction sales are apparently 3 times as high as normal, it looks like the skill-based matchmaking system that was implemented into Modern Warfare 2019, and of course Black Ops Cold War, is here to stay. At least for the immediate future. The idea is, since skill-based matchmaking is here to stay, and since a lot of us here on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Reddit, so on and so forth, are very vocal about not liking skill-based matchmaking, that we should just quit the franchise. We should pack up, we should move on, we should forget about playing Call of Duty multiplayer, and apparently co-play Warzone or something. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but that was something he mentioned in his video, how he's still playing Warzone as compared to multiplayer, even though Warzone's kind of like the beast that killed Call of Duty multiplayer. But regardless, his point still stands. Skill-based matchmaking is the gate that is stopping most of us from having consistent fun within the Call of Duty franchise like we could back in the day. Skill-based matchmaking doesn't look like it's going anywhere, so it's time to quit playing the franchise, and it's time for content creators to move on to a different game. Now, while I fundamentally disagree with this notion, I can see where he's coming from. Recently, I'm sure you guys heard the big news that Vikkstar quit playing Warzone because of hackers, and because Vikkstar is so big and he's such a respected name within the gaming industry, it got covered by the BBC, and Activision, as a result of that, started doing damage control and claims that they are working to counter hackers in Warzone even more than they were previously. That's an example of this idea working, right? But I suppose it's not really a great example, because Warzone is still full of hackers, bugs, and problems, but at the very least, Vikkstar quitting Warzone did get a response out of Activision, right? They finally actually mentioned something, they finally acknowledged what was happening within Warzone itself. Now, the problem with this plan of everybody just quitting the Call of Duty franchise is Vikkstar himself is an anomaly. Right? If I quit Call of Duty tomorrow, which the Call of Duty community always seems to have a very short memory, but I did quit Call of Duty last year in Modern Warfare 2019. I literally went out, stopped posting YouTube videos, went out and got a normal job as a quote-unquote security guard for a lumber mill. I mean, it basically involved me checking boilers, but I got a normal job and I stopped posting to my YouTube channel. But even if I were to do that again, even if I were to quit Cold War today, it would not make a difference. Right? Nothing about Modern Warfare 2019 changed because I wasn't there. If anything, I'm sure Activision was pleased to see my presence gone from the internet for about 8 months because I don't like them and they don't like me. In fact, over the years, I would argue that content creators like myself, who are trying their best to look at everything as objectively as possible, have made a huge impact on the franchise overall by always keeping the conversation going, always putting pressure on Activision and its respective studios to make changes, and always bringing to light the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes in the Call of Duty franchise. Vikkstar quitting Warzone technically did not change anything. It may seem like it did, but all it really did was just add to the narrative that Warzone is full of cheaters and is completely incomplete in every possible way when it comes to stability and anti-cheat measures. And that news, I suppose, is good because more outlets are talking about this, more people are discussing this, and that puts more pressure on Activision to actually make changes, even though they haven't done that yet. We'll have to wait and see how things actually play out in regards to Warzone finally getting a proper anti-cheat and for the game to actually become more stable and more enjoyable for players overall. But for right now, the overall effects of Vikkstar quitting Warzone and that gaining a bunch of attention hasn't actually been seen yet. We don't know exactly what is going to happen in the future as a result of that happening. Now, what actually did make changes to the Call of Duty franchise are the years of YouTubers and content creators like myself, Drifter, Exclusive Ace, Blame Truth, Prestigious Key, and everybody else discussing virtually everything that is going on with the Call of Duty franchise. We've been fortunate enough to be given a platform to voice concerns, and our platforms have grown to the point point that our videos are watched nearly daily by members of Activision and even members of the development teams at Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Raven, and Sledgehammer. Now, obviously, most other Call of Duty YouTubers around my size or bigger are kind of part of Activision, quote-unquote. Like, they've been flown out to the events, they've seen the studios, they've met the developers, they talk to them on a personal level, so on and so forth. But I'm not one of those people. But even I still have a bunch of Treyarch devs, Infinity Ward devs, Raven devs, so on and so forth, following me on Twitter and occasionally liking my tweets and interacting with the stuff that I post. As content creators, the developers themselves that actually make the games, the people that can actually make changes, follow us. They pay attention to what we're talking about, and as long as we're honest and critical of the content that comes out, we praise the stuff that's good and we discuss the stuff that's bad, change can happen in the Call of Duty franchise. It's because of content creators who have a genuine passion for the franchise, but aren't still so blind that they follow everything that's happening and take everything at face value, that the franchise has gotten much better. Think of all the things that we consider bullshit that are now gone from the franchise, in small part due to the community always pushing against it and always keeping the topic relevant, to the point where these topics sometimes get covered by mainstream media. We have supply drops, right? They were a massive problem in the franchise for years, and now they're gone. Season passes were awful. Now they're gone. Paid DLC maps and paid DLC weapons. Those were both awful, and they are now gone. League play, which is what you guys have been watching on your screen throughout this video. When it launched, it was awful. It's still pretty bad as of right now, but because it was discussed so much by people online and put in the spotlight so much, that David Vonderhaar himself decided to come out of the desert, vowing to fix League play and try to fix other issues within the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. It's because of the community. It's because we talk about this stuff. We post stuff online. We keep the topic relevant and we put it in the spotlight, and as a result, changes happen as a result of us, the community. And I'm not talking about just YouTubers like myself. I'm talking about people on Twitter, people on Reddit, people on forums, everywhere. The community itself can influence change. When weapons are busted, nowadays anyway, they get posted all over the internet, and bouncing patches, though they could be faster, still come as a result of that feedback, right? Whereas back in the day, back before YouTube and social media and everything were really booming, weapons in the Call of Duty franchise would just stay eternally broken. I'm looking at the World of War MP40 and the Call of Duty 4 M16 as prime examples of that, right? Nowadays, while yes, weapons are... There's always going to be a weapon that's better than other stuff in the game. Like right now, it's like AK-74U, a little bit of Commando. The snipers are pretty damn busted because they don't have flinch. But in general, weapon balance these days is much better than it was back then because they actually have metrics, they're paying attention to this stuff, and they're also gauging feedback from us, the Call of Duty community. It's definitely a very big deal to them when the entire community is discussing a topic, and as a result, they typically try to address that topic. Skill-based matchmaking, maybe not so much, because it seems like they're not allowed to discuss skill-based matchmaking, but we always thought that supply drops were always going to be a part of the franchise. We always thought that things like paid DLC maps and season passes and supply drop weapons were going to be a thing as well, and now they're all gone. Right? And it's because of years of always pushing back, always keeping the topic relevant, and always pushing back whenever Activision tries to pull more bullshit on us. The point that I'm trying to make is content creators and the community alike are able to help the franchise in a number of ways, even if it doesn't seem immediately apparent, and even though changes don't happen overnight. I think that skill-based matchmaking is just another example of that. So to just take your ball and go home and quit the franchise over it is fine. If that's something you want to do, then more power to you, but to try to blast the people who still love the franchise and still look forward to what's coming next is an example of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're throwing the good guys essentially under the bus for really no reason. Lots of fans have quit Call of Duty over skill-based matchmaking. I am absolutely sure of that, but that does not mean that everybody needs to quit as some sort of wild protest that will force Activision's hand. I don't even think that would work. Like, what would it take to actually make that work? For that to work, like, literally every YouTuber and Twitch streamer that get more than 1,000 views a video would need to make a video stating that they're quitting Call of Duty because of skill-based matchmaking, use some sort of hashtag, and then just stick to their guns and not make content on YouTube whatsoever, or at least move on to a different game, right? But even if that were to happen, I highly doubt anything like that would work, because it's important to remember that even though it may not seem that way, here on YouTube and Twitter and Reddit and so on and so forth, we are the vocal minority. The average Call of Duty player is the kind of Call of Duty player that puts in 1 to 2 days of playtime, maybe gets one gun gold, and blows money on anime skins. right? That's the average Call of Duty player, and the average Call of Duty player is not watching NerosCinema or Drifter or Exclusive Ace or Prestigious Key or Blame Truth or even 8 Thoughts on YouTube, right? They're going about their day-to-day lives, they play COD with their friends for an hour or so after work, and then they're pretty much done. That's the average Call of Duty fan, and that's who Activision currently is trying to cater to, but that has not always been the case. It's important to remember that we are the vocal minority, but with that being said, however, this vocal minority has helped cause change in the franchise for years and years now. So for those of you who actually care about the franchise still and still enjoy playing it, the best thing to do is to continue on with our lives and continue to speak out against the things that we don't like and praise the things that we do like. Together, that's what helps make the Call of Duty franchise better. And if some people want to give up and move on from the franchise, that's fine as well. Everybody is free to do as they wish, but to assume that everybody should think the way that you do or should do the things that you do is a pretty narrow-minded approach to a problem that is quite large and complex in the grand scope of things. I truly hope that skill-based matchmaking goes away entirely one day, and until that happens, I'm going to keep doing what I can to keep the community informed and keep the topic alive, at least until I eventually lose passion for the franchise and stop playing one way or the other. It's been almost 14 years that I've been playing the Call of Duty series, and I still enjoy it, and I obviously want what's best for the franchise, and going full circle here, I'm thankful for the platform that I have that allows me to speak for those who do not have a voice, and I'm happy that lots of real change has happened as a result of our efforts as a community. For me personally, I'm going to keep doing my thing, I'm going to keep doing my best to fight the good fight, and I encourage everybody else out there to do the same, however it is you feel is the best way of going about that. I'm looking forward to seeing where Black Ops Cold War goes as we get closer and closer to Season 2 and onward, then of course in the Call of Duty 2021, and it's always interesting to follow the Call of Duty franchise and see how things play out, and as always, I'll be here with you guys every step of the way, but for right now, I'm going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, consider leaving a like, leave your thoughts and feedback down in the comments, and again, no disrespect to 8 Thoughts whatsoever. I genuinely enjoy his content. I watch pretty much all of his videos. I've been following him on his infinite number of Twitter accounts because they keep getting banned, but I've been following the guy for a while. He's genuinely funny, and I do think that when he makes his videos, he does it from a good place, but he adds a bit of comedic relief on top of that, right? He does it to entertain people. That's what he does. He's an entertainer, and even though I enjoy the guy's content, I can still disagree with some of the stuff that he puts out there, especially when it's about me, and I guess other people as well. But I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Once again, if you did, consider leaving a like. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.